Hello, Laverne here, and thank you for joining me. May this video be a blessing to you, and may it honor and glorify God and His kingdom. This video I would like to speak on the topic of Christians who have been indoctrinated into the church of Satan. By this I am referring, of course, to the apostate church. I am not saying that there are Christians who are attending churches that actually identify themselves as being a church of Satan. But the truth of the matter is, Satan has built many churches that do not identify him as the head of that church. Many of these churches, in fact, the majority of churches in the world today, identify themselves in some way, shape, or form as being a church of Christ. They are very popular churches. The pastors, the preachers, the priests, the popes, and so on are very popular. Many people follow them and believe them to actually be sons of God or children of God, prophets, apostles, bishops, and so on of God. But the truth is, many Christians have been indoctrinated into the church of Satan, believing that in one way, shape, or another, they were led to the true Christ. There are many false Christs being taught. In fact, there are even some people claiming to be Christ, and there are people following them, actually believing that they are Christ incarnated. Well, most Christians will, of course, reject this idea. They recognize that these are false Christs. They do not recognize, however, that they too are serving a false Christ. It's true that he's not in front of them in a physical form, declaring himself to be a false Christ, or declaring himself to be Christ. But just because there is not someone in the physical form claiming to be Christ standing in front of you, it doesn't mean that you are not serving such a person. This is how Satan has set up his church. He set it up in such a way that people will come in, they will feel welcome, and they will hear praise of God. They will hear praise of Jesus. They will hear Scripture being read, being taught. But the Scripture being read and being taught is specifically chosen by the one who heads that church, who is, of course, Satan. My brothers and sisters, I'm making videos such as this in the hope that more Christians will have their eyes open to the fact that they are not following Christ, but rather the traditions of man that have been taught to them by Satan. Satan evangelizes. And there are many Christians who are evangelizing for Satan, teaching false doctrine that actually takes people down the wide path under the guise that they are on the narrow. False teachings such as the prosperity message. All we need to do is look at the fruit of these pastors and preachers that are teaching this message. All we need to do is actually read Scripture for ourselves, and we will see that this is a false teaching. My brothers and sisters, there are so many damning doctrine. And yet so many Christians feel they should not speak out against false doctrine and false teachers. For some reason they believe that they are not supposed to judge at all. But Scripture tells us we are to judge righteously. We are to love as Christ loved and hate as Christ hates. We are to judge righteously as Christ judged. And this means exposing lies, just as Christ exposed lies. It means exposing those who are teaching those lies, just as Christ exposed the corrupt Pharisees and Sadducees. This is such an important topic. It always has been. From the very beginning of the birth of the church, it's been a very important topic. It's not just in the age we are living today, though it certainly does seem to be more prominent. Everything that we face today, those early Christians also had to deal with. And we must deal with the problems we have today in the same way that they dealt with them. And that means exposing lies, exposing false doctrines, and exposing false teachers. It means recognizing that there are churches that are set up. We see this in the book of Revelation. We see it in the letters to the 7 churches, that there were corrupt teachings within those churches. And in some cases, those churches were condemned. They were ordered, they were commanded to change. And yet today, not only is there no change being seen in the apostate church, but their teachings are being accepted on a worldwide level. So, I ask you to consider the fact that it's possible that while you were at one time down and out in your life and you were reaching out to Christ, consider the possibility that the one who stretched his hand out to you was not Christ and was not a representative of Christ, but rather was a representative of Satan. For Satan knows that the only way to keep people out of the true church, from becoming part of the true bride, is if he sets up a counterfeit. And then when people start searching, start looking for the one true God, Satan is there to step in front of you, trying to convince you that he is the one that you seek, when in fact he is the one that you are actually trying to run from. So please, my brothers and sisters, take a look at the steps that led you to where you are and the people who brought you to where you are. Are their teachings actually the traditions of man? Are the things that you believe today? I mean, I know there are many who feel that what is being taught in their church is wrong. There's something eating at them. And yet, when they speak to people about it, what happens is their fears are alleviated. Those people that they approach do everything in their power to alleviate those fears, to keep people bound to the false teachings, to keep people bound to Satan. Salvation is such a very serious matter. It's so serious. It is the most important thing you can ever meditate on. It is the most important thing that you can ever speak on. So it's important that you get it right. It's important that you not be guided by a lying angel, being guided by a lying spirit. All right, as always, I do look forward to comments and messages. Till next time, peace and blessings.